Imagine you are in a class at school. The teacher calls on you, but you get the answer wrong. So they come up and they hit you. Can you imagine staying in that class any longer? What would happen to that teacher? They could go to jail. And why is it okay for parents to hit their children? According to Child Help in 2019, 1,840 children died of abuse and neglect in the United States. That's roughly 1/4 of a kindergarten class. 80% of these fatalities involve at least one of the parents as the perpetrator. The Child Welfare League of America reports that 75% of physical abuse cases begin as a response to a child's misbehavior. That means it starts with spanking. Spanking can escalate to physical abuse, especially if a parent is angry or stressed, or if the parent is using things like belts, switches, or paddles to spank their child. I'm a mom of 3, and thankfully we don't spank. But maybe you're not a parent yet. A Gallup poll says that 90% of Americans either have children or hope to have children one day. So maybe that's you. Or maybe there are children in your life, like nieces and nephews and cousins. So this affects everyone, really. And I hope to be able to show you that spanking is harmful, it's ineffective, and it's outdated. Let's start with how spanking is harmful. The American Psychology Association states that the use of physical punishment should be avoided. Research shows that children who experience physical punishment are more likely to be aggressive, exhibit fewer pro-social behaviors, and experience lower levels of mental health than children who are not physically punished. Harsh physical punishment in childhood is also linked to poor physical health in adulthood and relationship problems. Also a poor relationship between the parent and the child. In one study, 80% of 21-year-olds who cited abuse as a child met the criteria for at least one psychological disorder. And according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, harsh physical punishment is linked to mood disorders, anxiety, personality disorders, and drug and alcohol abuse. We really can't afford to spank our children. Secondly, spanking is ineffective. The American Academy of Pediatrics states that in a study of children in 20 large cities across the United States, 3-year-olds that were spanked twice a week or more ended up having higher levels of aggression at the age of 5. They're being modeled how to handle their problems with physical force. The Child Welfare League of America states that being spanked does not reduce problem behaviors in children, but it can actually lead to non-compliance and increased aggression. Being spanked also creates stress, fear, and anxiety in children, which interferes with the lesson that the parent is trying to teach in the first place, which renders spanking ineffective. Lastly, spanking is outdated. As of 2020, about 60 countries worldwide have outlawed physical punishment of children. Just because our parents did it does not mean that it's okay. Our parents and grandparents also didn't always wear seatbelts in the car, and some moms drank alcohol while they were pregnant. But we now know better, and we can know better about spanking as well. Instead of spanking, the American Academy of Family Physicians suggests awarding good behavior with special treats, praise, or special privileges, and to discourage bad behavior by ignoring the behavior, redirecting the child, timeouts, or taking away of privileges. A full list can be found at childhelp.org, but some of the things we know is what works in parenting is having age-appropriate expectations, helping the child work through emotions and problems by the parent staying emotionally regulated so the child can learn how to co-regulate, helping holding firm but flexible boundaries, not using corporal punishment, having effective communication, and a warm, affectionate, and nurturing caregiver. The results and effects on these children is profound. They end up with higher levels of self-esteem and self-confidence. They have closer relationships with their parents. They're less vulnerable to peer pressure. They have high level of self-control. They're problem solvers and have higher academic performance. So in conclusion, yes, disciplining our children is absolutely necessary, but what is not is using physical punishment to do so. According to psychotherapist and founder of StopSpanking.org, Robin Peters Bennett, 50% of toddlers are hit 3 times a week. Can you imagine being hit by your spouse or a teacher 3 times a week? Spanking is harmful, it's ineffective, and it is outdated. As Marianne Williamson has said, there is no single effort more radical in its potential for saving the world than a transformation of how we raise our children. So let's leave a different legacy for our children and grandchildren, and ultimately, the world. Thank you.